I want to tell you about my heart attack. Many years ago, I was coming back from restaurant week with my husband, John. We went to a restaurant in Washington, D.C., and it wasn't a very good meal. But the most disappointing part of the meal was that I had a heart attack. I was going to review the restaurant, but I decided I have better things to do with my life. So we were driving home, and I said, I don't feel so good. And he said, what's going on? And I said, I think I'm having a heart attack. He said, well, we need to go to the hospital immediately. And I said, oh, just take me home. I've had this happen before. I'll just wait it out. He said, no, we're going to Holy Cross Hospital here in Maryland. We went there. They had me fill out paperwork. And I was sitting there. I said, excuse me, I'm having a heart attack. They said, oh, okay, you can come up right now. Go inside those doors. And they took me into the emergency room and they put the leads on me to do a EKG. And there's a doctor over to my right. He said, you're having a major heart attack at this moment. And then over to the left, I saw this nurse. And she said, what's the matter? Why aren't you upset? Most people are upset when we tell them they're having a heart attack. Well, I felt this tremendous calm. I felt so peaceful. I was just happy. It was like I was in a dream and none of this was happening to me. I was just watching it. And they're saying, well, we need to do this and that, and and they brought in a cardiologist, and they sedated me, and he put in stents. And after that procedure was finished, he came over to me and he said, if you don't get open heart surgery within the next few hours, you will die. And I said, okay, I'd like to get open heart surgery in that case. He said, well, we can't do it here. It's Saturday night, Washington, D.C. There's no way we can get you in anywhere. The only possibility is if we medevac you in a helicopter over to Washington Hospital Center, shock, trauma, surgery. Because it's Saturday night in D.C. and this is an emergency surgery place, the likelihood of there actually being an available room for the surgery is minimal. And then add to that, you need a surgeon who knows how to do open heart surgery. And I said, well, okay, let's do it. So they put me in a little tiny helicopter. I had never been in a helicopter like this. It was about as wide as a table, and it only had room for the pilot, the medic, and the patient. I had a long history of fear of heights and claustrophobia. And the medic said to me, you know, most people have panic attacks, which I had been having for several years. So if you want, I can sedate you. And I said, listen, I don't care about a panic attack. I'm having a heart attack. Now, as we got toward the hospital where I was going to have surgery, I realized that God wanted me to say something to the people who were doing the surgery. I just knew it. I didn't know what I was supposed to say, but I knew that that's what was intended. Meanwhile, I'm just chill. I'm laying there. I had my eyes closed. I didn't want to have any more contact with what was going on than already was. And then as soon as we got there, immediately they lifted me out and put me on a gurney and started pushing me down these halls. And I could see, with my eyes closed, lights going off and on as we passed over, under the neon lights. And I didn't think about anything. I was just laying there. And all of a sudden, they lifted me up and put me on a table in a freezing cold room. There was a surgical suite. It was waiting for me. And during this entire thing, I felt so happy and at peace. And I thought, and the surgeon said, we were told that you wanted to tell us something before we begin surgery. And I was like, yeah, I know. That's what I told him, but I don't know what I'm supposed to say. All of a sudden, it came. Please take a minute or two to think of someone you really love, either now or in the past, or a pet, but just focus on that good feeling of how much you love them and they love you. That's the way it works. This is the way life happens. We're being 100% supported. And when you know that, you can be at peace. And if you don't know that, then your life is filled with suffering and turmoil, worry, what's going to be. And I knew the moment those words came out of my mouth that all is well. Everything was going to work out fine. And then there was this Asian anesthetist who was on the right side, I remember, and she said, you want that before or after anesthesia? I said, I really don't care. And that was the last thing I remember. And for 2 days, I didn't know that I existed. They took my heart out. There was a surgeon who could do this surgery. And they put it on dry ice. And for 4.5 hours, my heart was outside of my body, sitting on dry ice. And John came, as I had asked him, to bring some homeopathic arnica. And I said, as soon as they let you come in to the recovery room, I want you to put this in my mouth. And he was very nervous, he told me later. And he opened the little jar up with the homeopathic pellets in it and started spilling them all over the table and the floor. And this nurse ran over and she said, what are you doing? You're not allowed to give anything. He said, oh, it's just some herbal medicine. She said, oh, all right, that's fine. I don't remember any of this. He told me about it. He said, a woman chaplain came over and introduced herself. I don't remember any of this. He just related it to me. And she said, I am so-and-so. I'm a chaplain here. I've come to pray with you. And he said, I said, are you Jewish? She said, I'm a rabbi. I said, oh, okay. And he said, you both started to pray and sing songs in Hebrew. I don't remember any of this. Our life goes on perfectly, whether we're conscious or not. And throughout the whole thing, I was happy. I knew that all is well. I realized that there's no way I can screw this up. Your life is perfect. Anytime you think about it, you lose contact with this perfection. Just know that all is well. And don't think about it so much. Enjoy your lives.